Do you guys know that feeling of the last 10% of a project takes 90% of the time? That is definitely what has happened with me and this laser cut wedding card. I've had this done forever. The SVG was designed, I cut it out, I've done video of the tutorial for you, and finally, like 2 months later, I'm here doing the little intro part of the video so that I can get this edited and put on YouTube. If you needed this project earlier this summer, I apologize, but it is perfect for fall and winter wedding season. And if you're really ambitious, you could use something like this for invitations to a wedding or a shower or some other fancy event. I'm going to show you how to use your xTool P2 laser to laser cut this intricate design from Cardstock. You'll also cut out these background color inserts. And I'm also going to link to a different video where I show you different ways to make these wax seals. And then let me show you what this is like on the inside too. You pop off the seal, this flaps open, here's the background behind the laser cut design. And then it's got another laser cut design and this little pocket. And the size of the card that will fit in here is a 5.5 by 3.5 inches. You can also put a gift card down in here. You can have your Cricut cut this card and write a message on it, or you can handwrite it. And if you were using this design as an invitation, you could also layer a piece of vellum on top of here. Make sure you download the free SVG that's in the description, and I'll show you how to load it up into Creative Space for xTool. So open up xTool Creative Space and click on image, and then you're going to navigate to where you saved this laser card SVG and double click on it to upload the SVG into Creative Space. You can see I already have this set up for the P2 machine, and so I have the large workspace. If your project opens and it's set up for a different machine, you'll need to connect it to your P2 so that you get the proper canvas size. And then you will need to probably resize the project to be about 11.78 inches wide. That way you'll be sure that it fits inside your 12 by 12 cardstock sheet. I'm going to select the material as the craft paper. Then I'm also going to adjust the settings a little bit, but this gives me a good starting point. To get this project ready to cut, we're going to drag the layers apart. These two solid shapes are going to be the background colors that go behind the lace cutout. So you can drag those over to the side and then take the cutout design and the outline of the whole card and group those together. For my settings, I'm going to have the power at 80% and the speed at 100. And the same thing for these other cutout shapes, 80 for power and 100 for speed. Again, this is a great place to start, and then you can make your own adjustments if you need to. You want the cuts to be clean and all the way through without burning the cut edges too much. And adjust power down. You can adjust the speed up. So I have my blue cardstock loaded into the machine first. And so I'm going to bring over those two solid shapes. I'm going to make sure that they're set to output. Then I'm also changing the thickness to 0.024 inches. Then I'm going to click process. Double check that it's just cutting out those two background shapes. Then I can click start and then push the start button on the actual machine. This is the real-time speed of the laser cutting out those two shapes. And you can see that it cut those out beautifully, so I'm going to just take those and set them off to the side. This next step is something you need to do if you are using the slats and not the honeycomb base. So you need to take out a big section of slats. If you have little clips or magnets or something, you should use those to hold down the corners of the paper. The reason is the first time that I cut this out, some of the little tiny laser cut paper pieces fell down to the side of the slat and then stuck up a little bit. I was worried that the machine itself might catch on one of those and drag the paper or something. So this way you'll have space for all those little pieces to just fall down to the bottom and not mess up your whole cut project. Make sure you refresh so that you get a new image of where the paper is in your machine. And now you're going to switch, you're going to ignore the two shapes that we already cut out, and then we're going to position the card so that it fits inside the edges of the cardstock. I'm going to do the capture close view just to make sure that I get that right up to the edge, but it doesn't cross over and it fits perfectly on this cardstock. You'll also then want to make sure that you have output selected so that both of these will cut, the card outline and the intricate designs. So click Process, click Start, go to the machine and push the Start button, and then it will begin cutting out all of these little shapes. Once the card is all cut, you're just going to take it out and give it a little shake. Make sure there's no pieces stuck in there anywhere. And then if it did get a little bit singed from the laser, you can just kind of brush a paper towel or a little cotton swab to get that last little bit of soot off of the edges. Then you're going to take the card to a scoring board. Use some kind of scoring stylus or bone folder. You're going to look for where the tiny little notch cuts are. So like this one here, you're just going to draw a score line all the way down to the bottom of that tab. This side over here, you've got the bottom fold of the pocket, and then you've got the fold of the side of the card and the fold down the center of the card. Then I'm going to use this precision glue to attach the background pieces to the lace cutouts. So the first thing I'm going to do is just put glue all around the edge. And then when I flip it over, you can see there are a couple little pieces that kind of want to stick up. And so you can use either that precision tip or even like get just a tiny bit of glue on the end of a pin or a needle and touch it under where you want it to stick better. You're just trying to avoid glue squeezing out to where it's visible. Repeat with the pocket piece. And then take the two folded edges of the pocket and glue those into the inside of the card. To make it extra fancy, I'm going to seal that flap over with a little wax seal. So I have some gold wax beads. I'm going to melt them up in the little pot here. And I'll pour that down all into this little silicone mold that I have. Then I'm going to take my flower stamp and just set it down into the wax and then just let it sit and cool. You can kind of touch with your finger and see it when the metal part feels room temperature. You can peel it away from the stamp and then out of the little silicone mat. This way you get nice, pretty even edges and a nice round shape. Then we can attach it to the front of the card. So after you've put whatever you're going to put inside the card, then we're going to attach this wax seal. So I just melted up one bead of wax, and I'm going to actually just take a little stir stick and scrape some out of there to use that basically as some glue to hold the flap down. You could also use hot glue for this. Then I'll do the same thing to attach the wax seal. You want to work pretty quickly on this part because it sets up fast in just a small amount. If you get any little stringies like I did here, just pull it away, it comes right off. And then here is our finished sealed lace laser cut card. And the size fits perfectly in a 5x7 envelope. If you do make one of these, I'd love to see it so I can see the color combinations that you picked. And if you even want to share the settings that you used for cutting the cardstock, in case that was different than the settings I used, that might be helpful for somebody else too. So if you have any questions about this project or questions about the xTool P2, make sure you let me know. I will answer them in the comments. And make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you get all of my future content as well. I will see you next time. Bye.